Hi, everybody. Welcome. My name is Jeff Pinkman. I'm with the Pinkman Academy. You can find us at pinkmanbaseball.com. For the past 20 years, my family has run an academy in Northern Virginia, and over that time, since 1992, so it's been a little bit longer of a longer than 20 years, but. For the most part, we teach pitching and hitting lessons all throughout, or in Northern Virginia since 1992, and have been been wanting to provide a sense of reference for everybody in terms of what to wear, what to throw, how to throw. We've worked very closely with the American Sports Medicine Institute, or not worked closely with them rather, but adhered to their guidelines, and worked closely with Tom House actually out in the West Coast. And today what I'd like to do is talk a little bit about the fall baseball season. And over the last few let's say a couple weeks, we've had a lot of folks ask us about bullpens and how many pitches they should be throwing and how much is too much. And we typically have a little bullpen routine that we like to hand out to everybody. So what I'd like to do is talk a little bit about that today. Talk a bit about what type of clothing baseball players should be wearing out on the field now that the weather is starting to come upon us and starting to get a little chilly outside. So, I want to make sure that, this is our first Periscope appearance. And, I want to make sure that we cover just a little bit this week, and then maybe the next week we talk about something different. So, overall, we have bullpen sessions. I just worked with a student here recently, and I asked them, how many throws would you have made in your bullpen in practice? And he goes 20. And so I started to think and say, you know what? A lot of times when we talk to players, they end up saying, I throw 20 to 25 pitches in my pregame bullpen or my practice bullpen, and that's it. And when players are stepping on the field and they've only been throwing 20 pitches in their bullpen, it's really not enough pitches to get somebody ready. American Sports Medicine Institute researched and found out that it takes 24 fastballs just to get an adult familiar with what he is doing in terms of throwing the ball straight, learning that control, reaching max velocity, peak velocity, and stuff like that. And we've got a lot of players just throwing 10 or 15 fastballs, and then they throw a couple change-ups and they throw a couple, whether it be curveballs or cut fastballs or something like that. And then they try to go out in the field and perform, and all of a sudden they're throwing another 20 to 25 to 30 pitches in their first inning. And then what happens after that is they give up, anywhere from 2 to 10 runs, let's say, and all of a sudden they've fallen behind in the game. And so what we like to do is try to figure out and say, all right, if we can throw anywhere from, let's say, 35 to 45 pitches, just even in a practice bullpen, pitchers learn to become more 35 to 45 type of pitchers. If you have pitchers who only throw 20 pitches at a time, they're only going to be 20 pitch pitchers. And what happens in the game when they've reached that 20 to 25 to 30 pitch increments, and all of a sudden they start to fall apart. They don't throw the ball as fast. They can't, throw strikes anymore. They're probably out of 30 pitch count because they're either throwing too many strikes and they're giving up a lot of base hits, or they haven't thrown enough strikes and they're walking a lot of guys. So what my recommendation is to the bullpen that we have created is to throw to begin with, is start to throw at least 20 to 25 fastballs to begin. And by doing that, you're getting a sense of how to move the ball around in the zone. You see the blue pad behind me. We have green circles, both low and in and low and in and high and in. We have red circles, low and away, high and away. And if you were to throw a box first, so you were to say low green, red, high green, you touch all four corners of the strike zone, and you do that twice. Then you do what we call a tilt. You go low green to high red and low red to high green. You could even do that twice. So now we're sitting at 16 fastballs. Then you you can bless the strike zone and go low and just go up, down, in, and out, and do that twice. And right now we're sitting at 24 fastballs. And so if you are just throwing fastballs, that can be a very adequate amount of pitches to throw, let's say for somebody younger than 12 years old. But if you start throwing changeups and off-speed pitches and curveballs and stuff, or cut fastballs, any type of breaking pitch, you want to also warm them up. And so if you were to throw anywhere from 4 to 8 or 4 to 10 changeups, 4 to 10 breaking pitches, whether it be cutters or 4 to 10 curveballs. Now, yes, you're kind of looking at a lot. So if you throw the minimum of 4 off-speed pitches, you're sitting at 12. So you take your 24 to 12, we're now looking at 36. But if you feel like you need to work on them more, you can add more. You can go from 4 to 8 or 8 to 10. Normally wouldn't want to throw any more than, I would say, 10 off-speed pitches in your, whether it be pregame bullpen, but in a practice bullpen, you could do that a little bit more. If you did the maximum of 10 changeups, 10 cutters, 10 curveballs, then sure, you're looking at 30 off-speed pitches in which you're practicing, 24 fastballs, so you're looking at a 54-pitch bullpen. But if that's a practice bullpen, we really don't see any reason as to why you would want to not practice throwing those 50 pitches. And whether you were doing them all at once, or you want to split them up into, let's say, 2 innings, so you throw your 24 fastballs, and then you take a break. You take a 2 to 3 or maybe a 5-minute break. You're able to then regenerate, recoup, think about what you just did with your fastballs, take a drink of water, step back up on the mound, and then be able to throw your 10 changeups, your 10 cutters, your 10 curveballs, and throw an additional 30 pitches. And now all of a sudden you've just thrown 2 innings worth of pitches, a 24-pitch fastball inning, and then a maximum of 30-pitch off-speed pitch inning. So, there's a variety of ways that you can mix and mingle different pitches into what you're trying to do and how you're doing it. And so if you were to do this on a regular basis, the student I just worked with said he throws 3 bullpens a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but they're just 20 pitches apiece. And so if you were to throw a 50-pitch bullpen 3 days a week, now you're conditioning yourself to be a 50-pitch pitcher. And having that ability to have the 50 pitches in the gas tank allows you to go out on the field, and when it's game time, the coach says, hey, go warm up, go throw your bullpen. Now you're able to go throw a 20 to 30 to 40 pitch bullpen with no problem. You then go back in the dugout. You're able to take a break. You're able to change your shirt if you need to get a drink of water, Gatorade, whatever, be a little snack or something like that, and then head out on the field anywhere from 5 to 10 to maybe even 15 minutes later, and be rejuvenated to be able to go out and throw that a 15 or 20 pitch inning, and hopefully not give up as many runs in that first inning. Think about how many times maybe you've thrown, you've gone out in that first inning, and maybe you've thrown 20 to 25 to 30 pitches in your bullpen, but then in the first inning you throw 20, 25, 30 pitches, and you've given up, one, whether it be 1 run or multiple runs. You then hop out back onto the field, in inning number 2, and innings 2, 3, and 4 are lights out. You throw no hitter for those 3 innings, but you end up losing the game, 3-2 because you gave up those 3 runs in that first inning. So ideally, what we're trying to do is prevent those extra runs from scoring earlier on, and maybe by throwing a longer bullpen, you may not be able to pitch as much. Maybe you only throw 2 innings instead of 3 innings, or you throw 3 innings instead of 4 innings, or you throw 6 innings instead of 7, because you took a little longer in the bullpen. But think about what you gain by throwing those extra pitches and practicing in that bullpen and being slightly more fatigued in that first inning. You lower your ERA. You're not you're not walking as many people. You're able to throw more first pitch strikes potentially. You're able to know where the strike zone is early on, and maybe your first inning is 8, 9, 10 to 15 pitches instead of 20 to 25 to 30 pitches. So that's it's one of those things that you want to make sure that you're practicing. When we hand these bullpens out to coaches and they go, wow, 40 pitches, that's a lot. I don't want my pitchers getting too tired. Well, if you can practice throwing those bullpens on a regular basis, throwing 40 pitches isn't a problem if you've been practicing them over a period of time. If you condition yourself if you condition yourself to throw, over that 40 pitch span. So, for instance, you see the bucket over my shoulder, the basket of balls there. There's roughly 80 to 100 balls in that bucket, and over a course of a span of a lesson, some players may throw only a bucket of balls, 100 pitches. Some players may throw 2 buckets of balls. And so over an hour, throwing 100 to 200 pitches in a very controlled state, you can see that the bucket is only about half the distance. So throwing them around 30 to 25 to 30 feet into that pad behind us isn't going to exaggerate or wear somebody down as much as it is if they're throwing 100 pitches from 60 feet. So, if you're able to condition yourself and you're able to get on the mound frequently and create a regular throwing routine, throwing 40-pitch bullpen should be a nice warm-up. So, the next thing I want to get to is what baseball players should be wearing when they get on the field. And here in Northern Virginia, today it's going to be 75, maybe 78 degrees all day long. It started out maybe in the low 60s, 72 degrees at 9 o'clock. And a lot of players, while they get out on the field, like, wow, the sun's out, there's no clouds, we're running around, we're sweating a little bit. One thing that you need to keep in mind is that as the weather cools, baseball players, especially pitchers, need to keep their arms covered. They need to be wearing long sleeves, and whether it's Nike, their fit gear, or if it's the Under Armour cold gear, whether they're cotton sleeves or polyester sleeves, pitchers and position players need to make sure that, one, they keep their core body temperature up, but two, that they keep the elbows and shoulders warm. You see a lot of pitchers, even in the major leagues, in between innings, they wrap a towel around their elbow, or they even put on a jacket or a sweatshirt or something. And what you want to make sure that you do is protect the body, protect the muscles, protect the elbows, the joints, the ligaments, the tendons, and those muscles, so that they don't get tight, so they don't get cold. And as the weather starts to cool down now for the fall season, since baseball is such a once in a while type of event, while pitchers are throwing on a more consistent basis, position players, infielders, catchers, not catchers, but infielders and outfielders are standing around a lot and not throwing the ball, and they may make 1 or 2 explosive throws over the course of the game. And so making sure that they got their long sleeves on, whether, they be loose sleeves or tight sleeves, it's something that you want to make sure that players are doing, especially at the younger level, because we're seeing such a brash of youth injuries, growth plate separation, small bouts of tendinitis, shoulders getting real sore because players aren't in shape to throw the amounts of throws that they're doing. Keeping the body warm, keeping everything in the core body temperature up is just extremely important. And as we get into October and the weather starts to dip down into the 50s and 60s and players are running around and they're still thinking, hey, I'm sweaty, it's too hot. You can never be too hot when it's 50 or 60 degrees. So make sure that players are, sometimes coaches and parents, you have to be the coach and you have to be the parent, and make your kids wear these things so that in the long scheme of things, they'll feel better, they'll be better, and they'll be more prepared to throw the ball across the diamond. They'll be more prepared to throw the ball from the outfield, and they'll be more prepared to throw 30, 40, 50, 3, 4, 5 innings over the course of a game, because their muscles and joints are warmed up and they're loose. So anyway, that's what we got for today. I want to thank you for watching. Thank you for joining us. Again, my name is Jeff Pinkman. I run the Pinkman Baseball Academy. You can go to pinkmanbaseball.com. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter @Pinkman Baseball, and you can check out some of the things that we're posting up on Facebook and Twitter there. So thanks for joining us. We hope you return, and feel free to comment and make any suggestions over the course of the span that this video is up. And please click on the screen so we can kind of see those hearts as we roll along. So thanks again. We hope to see you soon. Take care.